Tony gets it up and running. Please keep eating. That way with y'all can't say anything mean to me. We're going to discuss now.
Hey, you look good. You look good.
Hey, by the way, I'm not running for anything. So just to let you know that.
You know, I knew coming to do this, I was gonna get picked on.
You're not running from anything or for anything.
Well, not either one right now.
Not even dog catcher.
Not even dog catcher. That's honorable. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, you got it, Jack. I was going to wait for this strap back while we're okay. Well, if you would, just turn to the tab that says on finance in your notebooks. And what we wanted to do under the budget section was, of course, we're going to be, and of course we have our council calendar, where we have already scheduled work sessions. Probably this year, I know some council members may want additional ones, and that's fine. We've left the calendar flexible enough to have those. But what we want to do, since we had everyone had the captured audience here, is actually to go through, and Ms. Johnson is going to go through each one of the line item, not line item accounts, but the departmental accounts, and just to give everyone an overview of what that account is. Because once you get your budget information, you may have a question about those types of things, and we have several things that we want to go over. Then Mr. Anderson is going to go over, because several of you have asked about our workforce, how many employees we have, those types of things. Mr. Anderson will go over that. Then I'll chime back in talking about some of our allocation funding, and then we'll have some discussion on unfunded mandate. Ms. Bass will do that. And then we'll wrap up on the budget section with actually getting or having a discussion about a general consensus regarding what type of a budget that you want me, what type of a balanced budget you want me to bring back to council as far as my recommendation. So, Ms. Johnson, you want to go ahead and start the first block? Just they have it there, so you can just go through the pages.
For those of you that don't know me, I think everybody in the room knows me. My name is Laura Johnson. I work for Finance Department. And presently, we're working on the 2015-2016 budget. We're at the beginning stages, and that's pretty tedious to review each line item in all the budget departments. Just for an FYI, we have about 33 department heads, 28 entities that we allocate funds to. All of them not necessarily coming out of the general fund, they come from other sources of monies. In our general ledger, we have approximately 70 funds. They're made up of general fund monies, special revenue funds, trust and agency funds, and trust and agency funds are funds that the county holds in trust for others. So we don't budget those trust and agency funds. And we have capital projects funds and military funds. In our general ledger, there's approximately 913 account numbers. That includes assets, liabilities, fund equity, revenues, and expenditures. And of the 913, 382 are expense accounts, and 248 are revenue accounts.
Ms. Warren. I kind of lost where you
So that was just general information. I was sorry. The budget worksheet that you have in your binders, it's a budget worksheet that we normally prepare during our budget process. On this particular one, the last column says 2015 adopted budget, but during our budget process, it will normally say proposed, 2016 proposed budget. But to the left of the worksheet, you will see, for example, 001 County Council. Every department is given a department code, and for example, County Council code would be 001. department number. The second column is called account classifications. And there are about 13 account classifications. Personnel services, contractual supplies, fixed charges and contributions, travel equipment, permanent improvements, debt service allocations, transfers in, transfers out, contingencies, etc. So I'm going to go over some of these, explain some of these items in that second column. For example, we'll start with contractual services. Contractual services, for each one of these, like I said, this is an account classification in the general ledger. We would have contractual services, but we could have 10, 20, 30 different sub-accounts up under contractual services, explaining what type of service that we're paying for. It could be data processing services, non-vehicle equipment services, vehicle services, medical services, education and training services, printing, binding, and advertising, microfilm processing, promotional services. We also pay utilities out of this, telephones, and also any auditing or accounting services, engineering, appraisal, architectural services. I can go on and on because there's several listed up under that account. I'm just going to give you examples of some. For equipment, that could be any various type of equipment that the county purchases. It could be maintenance equipment. It could be vehicles, telephone equipment, law enforcement equipment. That is normally specifically used by the sheriff's office. Medical equipment, data processing equipment, and copying equipment. Just again to name a few. Fixed charges and contributions are normally our rental lease agreements, property insurance, vehicle insurance, bond insurance, dues and memberships, and permits and licenses and unemployment insurance. Personnel services, of course, is pretty self-explanatory. That's salaries, retirement, FICA, Medicare, and medical insurance.
Does that include employee and the county portion?
Yes, ma'am. And some other items, every department may not have the same exact account numbers. It just depends on the type of purchase that department is making. For example, law enforcement supplies or law enforcement equipment, you wouldn't see that account code in the finance department or in county council. It's specifically for the sheriff's office, and it may be some in the detention center. And those line items would be real. When it comes to supplies, there are a lot of different supply accounts, from office supplies to safety and training supplies, medical supplies, promotional motor vehicle supplies, food supplies, postage, road signs, clothing, communication supplies, data processing supplies and software, and sanitary supplies, kitchen supplies, gasoline, and things of that nature. So we are responsible for going through each one of these line items that you see in this budget worksheet and examining each one of them and coming up with a proposed budget to present to council. Some of these items you will see are permanent improvements. We include in that land purchases, building purchases, site development, major renovations, roof repairs, construction. And you will notice on one of the pages, it includes, on several of the pages, you will see items such as grant and aid, there's a lot of grants in here, those are accounted for under special revenue funds. And if they're a special revenue fund, most of them have another source of income, another source of revenue stream, such as a state grant or a federal grant. We have, for example, victim assistance, where their source of revenue comes from court fees and fines. Also included is on page 15, this is school operations. The finance department does nothing with that account because the treasurer is the treasurer for the county, it's also the treasurer for the school. So that account is set up for the taxes and other revenues to go in. The treasurer handles that account based upon, I believe, the school request funding, amount of money that they want to pull out of that account, and she makes sure that they get the money that they are requesting out of that account.
Excuse me, Ms. Moore, I see it on page 15.
15 of 18.
Oh, gotcha.
You'll see
Gotcha.
school operations, school leaks,
Gotcha.
and things like that. And municipal taxes right up under that is like the town of Blackfoot, the town of Ridgeway, because the treasurer also collects taxes for the towns, and that money goes into those accounts, and then she in turn cuts a check back out to them. The finance department, we look at it, we kind of see if it's balancing, but we normally don't get heavily involved in those particular kind of accounts. I can go on and on, but I guess I have to come to a stopping point to see if there's something that you see you want to ask questions about.
One of the things, I guess, what we tried to accomplish with this information is to give you the scope of all of these are all of the departments that we have. So during the budget work sessions, we will actually go through each department and allow you, and you'll have your budget packets, and so any question or any line item question that you have, we'll actually go through those when we're actually going through the work session. We pretty much try to do the general fund departments, then we have our special revenue departments, and we try to break it up that way as we go through those. Also, there is a complexity to the process that we have. The finance department is responsible for keeping up with a lot of things. I think they do a very good job with it. We've received clean audits, certainly since I've been here, and actually before as well. So they do a really good job with the accounting, but of course, that is only appropriated by whatever you approve as a final adopted budget. And of course, we're responsible to make sure that we adhere and stay within those and never run an overall general fund deficit on anything, because of course, we can't overspend what you provide to us. We're restrained by that. So whereas we may go over in a particular line item, we still won't go over in the general fund. I mean, we just can't. We do that. And then if there were to be some anomaly like that, we would actually have to come back to county council to have some type of a budget amendment to amend or to adjust our budget. The best thing, or the only thing I can remember us doing that in the last 2 years, and this has been a positive, we came back and amended our budget for additional revenue that we wanted to provide for the local option property tax relief. We had one budget figure, but then we went back and adjusted, I think it's about $315,000 or something like that, where we updated because we got in better numbers than we had anticipated. And so before the tax bills went out, we actually adjusted or amended the budget to be able to do that. Does anyone have any questions about any of the departments? Because one thing I'd like to do now is possibly, if you do or not, we can skip and then we can go to the unfunded mandates. I think we have that in a back section, but it may be more appropriate to kind of talk about those things along with that. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Johnson regarding the journal accounts or any particular departments or any particular thing that you may want us to point out this budget cycle that maybe we haven't in the past? Because I know some of you actually some of the people who actually ran for council, you actually participated in those budget work sessions that we had last year.
Well, I'll just say, you know, I came, I think, to all of those and stayed the whole length of all of them. I think I might have been the only person that did in the audience in some cases. I want us to get a little bit more breakdown of what is behind all these actual line items in here. Because when I came to those meetings, you know, it was just going down the way that I think it just was, and I don't know how you really know exactly what's going on in any of those departments from what I saw, or what was being purchased and what that money was being spent on. I think we need to know, because otherwise there's no way for us to find waste. There's no way for us to find where we could have some cost savings. And I think we need to do that.
I agree. That's the only types of budgeting I've ever been used to doing. It shows the breakdown of what makes up these summary figures here.
We used to, years ago, we used to have a total line item, and the book was gonna be at least this thick when it came to us, but, you know, yeah, it was a big book. But it was literally a breakdown of every department by the code, the numbers.
Well, that's what I'd like to have. I mean, I know some people might not like to hear that, but that's what I'd like to have.
Maybe you can do that online, instead of copying all this.
We can load it and actually have it on your iPad.
Well, we can, you know, we can come in with thumb drives and